Hello and welcome, Death Racers. I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Hi. How are you fine folks tonight? Well, you can't really answer, so I'll imagine the answer is good. Today, one of my film heroes, Roger Corman, passed away. Big fan of Corman as long as I can remember. As soon as I started learning about the guy, he became instantly one of my favorites. So we'll talk about him. When I think of Roger Corman, the two movies that jump to my mind immediately are Carnosaur and Death Race 2000. So I thought tonight we would watch Death Race 2000 in honor of Roger, talk about some of his movies, talk about some of the careers he's launched, just kind of, have a talk about Death Race. What an awesome movie it is. So I see folks are already coming into the chat. Look at that. That's awesome. Our friend Patrick is here. He says, go Speed Racer, go. And rip Roger Corman. Indeed. I was also, for those of you who are familiar with Patrick, have Cheetah Will View. I was on his channel on a Friday night where we watched You Should Have Killed Me. Me and Larry from Into House went to Patrick's channel and we watched that film with the filmmakers. It was a fun time. So be sure to check out Patrick's channel and watch that. Otherwise, the link to it is on the homepage of Night Owl Movie Talk. So I try to keep things tidy and organized for you guys. Speaking of tidy and organized, rip Roger Corman. Oh, and Anthony Chabot. Nice of you to drop by and shout out Roger. I'm going to see Planet of the Apes tonight. I want to see Planet movies making to the theater. That one's one I might check out, especially since the reviews are going well. Echo Cero says, hello, welcome, Echo. Nice to see you. Echo been cranking out the work. Patrick says, hello. I'm up to Power Rangers Zeo in 1996. Oh, really? I didn't know the Power Rangers were going to make an appearance in your memoirs. I was going to call it an autobiography. We had a blast. We did have a blast. That was a fun time. And Patrick says, hello, Echo. Yeah, this movie tonight's going to be a short one. You know me, I love a good 90-minute movie. This one's an hour and 20. All right, Roger Corman, don't play. We'll talk about why it's an hour and 20, and we'll talk about a bunch of that stuff regarding this movie. I'm going to be watching it on Tubi, so you can find it on Tubi, Death Race 2000. It stars Sylvester Stallone and David Carradine. So right away, I probably have your attention, don't I? It was also directed by Paul Bartel, who is that guy. Like if you watch a lot of movies, you're very familiar with Paul Bartel. I don't know why that's giving me so much trouble tonight. But anyways, what is it, 1:03? We'll wait another couple minutes and say hello to folks in the chat as they come in, and then we'll get started here in a minute or two and bang out this 1 hour and 20-minute classic. Can you name the first movie? Can you name whose first movie was The Crybaby Killer? No, I cannot. Is it and this better not be something where you jump out behind me and murder me. Okay, just making sure. I'm scared of Echo Clown. Let's see here. I'm watching new Doctor Who. They're a new master in that show. Oh, really? I enjoy the Doctor Who, all the incarnations of it. I liked, what's his name? David Tennant and Matt, what's his name? The guy who was Morbin Time. Smith, is that his name? He's good. He's good. He's in the Game of Thrones spinoff. I enjoy his work. But yeah, I like a lot of that new Doctor Who stuff. Watched that Go-Go Power Rangers special and thought it was lame and lacked the magic of the old show. Wow, Echo coming in hot against the new Power Rangers. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Power Rangers was right past my time of watching it. And you would think it would fall into like, stoner entertainment category, but it just never grabbed my attention. It was always bizarre to me, like a children's show. The monsters and everything looked so crazy, and you could clearly tell that it was overdubbed from, like, I didn't know the story of it, but I kind of knew the story of it. It's like, this is clearly a show from Japan or somewhere, and they've dubbed over it, But I don't know. I know a lot of folks love it. I watched a few episodes with my nieces and nephews trying to figure it out, but it never really caught on with me. I saw the newest movie, the one like with the newer people in it. I don't know. That was probably like 5 years ago or something. One of those rare series that got stronger with each film. Planet of the Apes, maybe? I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe Death Race? I don't know. I hope not. Death Race, except 2050 was so much fun. Yeah, I enjoy this one. Death Race 2050, it has its charm. It's not great, but it's if you love this, you can see how it's a successor to this, or it attempts to be a successor to this. But I think this one's so far ahead of its time that just even making a sequel is kind of pointless. Matt Smith, but there were the Black Doctor. Who, I wasn't aware of him. Yeah, I watched the whole first couple seasons. That lady with the stretched out face and all that. That was crazy. Oh man, he says Saw Fall Guy. It was awesome. It's morphin time, Don. Oh yeah. Demonia. Sorry, that's the best I can do for you. But thank you. Our friend Lamonia Demonia is here. Always brilliant and fun to have around. Speaking of brilliant and fun to have around, the professor is here. Greetings and salutations, my friend. This doesn't have a lot of boobs in it, or maybe not any, but I had a feeling the professor would dig this one. Power Rangers SPD was badass. See, like I say, I'm drawing a blank on him. I always thought it was mildly rip off of Voltron. That's how old I am. I'm like, the tigers and they jump together and make the robot guy. Never mind. Jack Nicholson's first movie was The Crybaby Killer. Oh, okay. Was that a Corman movie? Because I know Nicholson really started off with Corman. Like I say, when we watch the movie and talk about Roger here for a little bit, all that stuff will come up. He launched so many careers in so many directions, and his film history and just his history. He's one of those guys that I talk about sometimes. I like to watch old interviews of people, like folks I'm fascinated by. So instead of reading some biography that somebody wrote, I can just hear the people. So Hitchcock, Rod Serling, George R.R. Martin, and Roger Corman is one of the main guys I love listening to. He's fascinating. Like his movie knowledge, and then his logic and mathematical approach to making money and stuff. He's an interesting, fascinating guy. We watching the Sly Stallone classic. Oh, my mouth's not mouthing tonight. It'll catch up. Yeah, we are. That's what this one cracks me up because he's not, he's so like big and broad and comedic. And the movie's like a dark comedy, and on top of being an action sci-fi, I guess comedy would be the third term, but it's satire, dark satire. I think it's a predecessor to Running Man. It was actually made because they were, much as Corman's want to do, he saw that Rollerball was coming out, and there was all this like advanced advertising for Rollerball and getting people all hyped up for Rollerball. So he wanted to do his version of Rollerball to capitalize on all the hype and interest in it, right? Mr. Corman just ride the coattails of somebody else's advertising dollar. Budget Balla. I'm getting a new phone this week. Ooh, that's awesome. It's late. I'm up high. There's Mr. Bones. Welcome, Mr. Bones. Speaking of people I've watched features with, last week Bones and I watched Machete on his channel, and we're probably going to be watching something again this Tuesday. Looks like perhaps something in the Danny Trejo catalog. We'll see. Pardon me. That's what the cough button's for. Hello, Professor. The face says to remind you all to see you. Ooh, getting deep on us. That was pretty good. Bones heads assemble. Yeah, I'm no Wes, but I'm getting there. No, not the face. D's nuts unite. Oh, you walked into the Power Rangers, and then there's D's nuts. There they are. I see them. Mm-hmm. The Crybaby Killer was also a Corman movie. Yeah, that's what I figured as much. Corman's legacy touchdown was whoa. So yeah, we're about to go to dig into that. Kane versus Rocky. I'm into it. Mr. Bones says he keeps saying balls. Who does? Do I say balls? I'd be saying balls. So this is the first mockbuster that would later make the Asylum famous. Kind of. Like I say, when I think of Corman, I just often think of like figuring out the best way to spend no money. Like even this, it's an hour and 20 minutes. That's because films used to come on reels that they would, show at the project at the theater, and now it's all digital or whatever. But the old reels, each canister, you would have to ship and pay for shipping from place to place, right? So if you've got that shipping cost, whatever, it can be very expensive for a 3-hour movie because it's more canisters. So this is an hour and 20 because it keeps it a lesser amount of canisters. I know he tried to keep a lot of stuff under an hour and 23. But he was just smart like that. How much more money did he make by not having, that one extra canister being shipped around? Who is bothering us? Oh, there we go. So at the moment we are, there's Half Cheetah Will Do. Danny's first film Bailout with Linda Blair and the Hoff. Nice. Came out in 1986. Nice. Night Owls Unite. Nice. A lot of niceness going on. Hoot Hoot. Yeah, there, now he's speaking owl again, so the owls are uniting. Anyways, I'm going to get this movie started. It's 1:10. This is the going to be playing on Tubi, so you can have a chance to go digging through Tubi. We're going to watch it with commercials as per usual. Probably be commercial discussion. I love a good commercial discussion. But I'm going to go ahead and play from the beginning in 3, 2, 1. All right, little scrolly bar. Let's see if they hit me with a commercial up front. And there it is, Ray. Some cell phone company, these bastards. But anyways, I welcome you all to the chat tonight. As I said, Roger Corman's sort of a hero of mine. I love his entire bit of everything. So we'll have a long Roger Corman discussion. This movie, if you're not familiar with, in the future, in the year 2000. So because this was made in 75, so there's science fiction often runs a little behind. They're like, it's going to happen next week. It's like, give it 100 years and maybe you're right. But except for cell phones, that came like overnight. But as I was saying, in the future, in the year 2000, they have like I don't know, Fear Factor reality show type thing. The Running Man touches on the same kind of idea that our attention spans will require more and more zaps to our brain, so you have to keep ratcheting up the tension and the anxiety of where these shows will go. So it's moved beyond, whatever, what's that show where people get hit with the giant balls? Wipeout, I think it's called, whatever. Oh, finally it's starting there. I had to vamp through the commercial. So in the future, in the year 2000, people run each other over with cars. Damn it, my mouth's still not mouthing, you guys. I'm trying though, it's working. So they play a cross-country race, kind of like Cannonball Run or something, but they slam into people and they earn extra points for running folks over. They made a remake with Jason Statham and then they made several remakes of that. Wow, look how janky that title card is. It says Death Race 2000. It looks like somebody's nephew drew it with some Sharpies. Like I said, this was directed by Paul Bartel. A lot of people know him. He sort of works in conjunction with this woman, Mary Woronov, who's also in this. Of course she is. Paul Bartel. Why is that one giving me trouble? That should be relatively easy. Paul Bartel. He directed 14 films. Naughty Nurse, Private Parts, Death Race 2000, Cannonball, Eating Raoul, and that's the one most people know him for. That's a bit of a cult classic. Not for publication, Lust in the Dust, The Long Shot, an episode of Amazing Stories, and Scenes from the Class Struggle in Beverly Hills. He also did a movie called Shelf Life and directed a few episodes of the Clueless TV series. Look at him. But the main reason anybody would know Paul Bartel is that he has, 93 acting credits. He's our Chopping Mall. He was on the Fame TV show. He was in Follow That Bird. He was in National Lampoon's European Vacation, Frankenweenie, Get Crazy, Trick or Treats, Eating Raoul, Heart Beeps, Rock and Roll High School, Piranha, Grand Theft Auto the movie, Death Race 2000. He has an uncredited role in this. But Chopping Mall jumps out immediately. He was in Munchies, Crime Story, Caddyshack 2, God love him, Gremlins 2, The New Batch as the theater manager. He was in The Pope Must Diet, which was originally called The Pope Must Die, and the Catholic Church freaked out, and there was a bunch of death threats against the people who made that movie, so they changed it to The Pope Must Diet because a fat guy played the Pope. A heavy-set guy. I'm not trying to fat shame Robbie, what's his name? He was in Posse, Grief, Twin Sitters, The Usual Suspect. Awesome in The Usual Suspects. He's the guy whose car gets boxed in by all the vans, and then they set his car on fire and run away. The Wacky Adventures of Dr. Norris, Not Like Us, Bucket of Blood remake, Joe's Apartment the movie, Escape from L.A., The Devil's Child, Race, Dreamers, Ally McBeal, Hamlet, of course. I'm not on Hamlet. That's the perfect place for Paul Bartel. But like I said, the main thing you'll know him from is he's just in everything. He turns up all the time. Chopping Mall, he's a fun cameo. So we're back to the movie. It's got this like this host of a TV show, and they're making the reality show. This is really kind of before reality shows. So once again, much like Running Man, it predicted not only the type of entertainment we would like, but how far it would have to go to hold our attentions. So here's the aforementioned Paul Bartel. bald guy with a beard at the 3:29 mark. And he rolls out this guy underneath a blanket or a sheet like he's, coming alive, and they pull down the mask, and it's Frankenstein. The racers in this all take on a professional wrestling persona. So Stallone plays Machine Gun Joe, and then David Carradine plays Frankenstein, and he's like all burnt up from previous accidents and wrecks he's been in from other death races. So his face is scarred, but he's got a black leather luchador mask on, kind of like an S&M gimp mask. Oh, now they're showing the crowd because this is like a crazy satire in the future. The Nazi party is back. So there's a whole section in the crowd of people waving swastika flags. And they're rooting for the Nazi navigator Herman the German. So now the Nazis and the Jews are fighting in the stands. Let's see. Oh, got all sorts of folks pulling into the chat here. Hey, Russell is here. Nice to see you, Russell. Welcome, my friend. Hey, Big Don, you were 19 when you saw this. Oh, yeah. I've seen this on cable a bunch of times. This was one that was, probably was on TV and cable starting it came out in 75. So if by 1980 it was running, that means I was about 6. So I was at the right age to just love this movie because it's insane. And I also loved the old show Kung Fu with David Carradine. And that's, you mentioned Kane earlier. He had been primarily known for being Kane on Kung Fu. So now and it's hilarious. He's like, well, I want to be associated with something other than Kung Fu. So he does this movie where he wears a mask the whole time. It's like anybody could kind of be in that role. You should have death raced me. I'm cool on death racing anybody. Woo! Night Owls You Light. Hobbs. Hey, Hobbs Horror is here. That's who that woo was. Look at you, Ric Flairing into the place. I was just getting ready to talk about the pizza parlor. Sloppy slop slop. That's me. Sir Hobbs of the Boglins. Night Owl live stream party at Kitty and Studs. Word. The gang's all here. Nice. It is everybody to be here. I appreciate that. Like I said, we're not only having one of our usual weekly or late night watch along here, but this one in particular, because of Corman passing away, I really wanted to get to. It's been on my to-do list forever, so what better day than to do it today? I'm glad to see all you guys here. Getting hit with balls, to be exact. Yeah, that Wipeout show is ridiculous. Get those big balls off me. Big hair talking balls. Paul Blart? No, it's a different guy. But doesn't it sound like that when I try to say it? I think maybe that's where I'm getting into the trouble with saying his name. You need a drink, Don. You sound a little parched, right? Oh man, I'm like, my drinks are empty. I think maybe I'm just developing my scratchy radio voice persona. I'm trying to go with like a deeper, gravelly, a little more gravitas, or maybe I'll be living that wild life. Big hairy talking balls. Oh no, we're gonna get into ball talk. Eating Raoul made Bartel and Woronov famous. Yeah, that's where I first saw them and became aware of them. And then when they start turning up in like Chopping Mall and all these other things, you're like, oh, hey, they're a fun duo. I always thought they were married for some reason. I mean, now in hindsight that I know that Paul Bartel was gay, it's like, oh yeah, of course he is. So I don't know what I thought there. But yeah, I always thought they were a married couple for a long time. But apparently they're just like handcuffed as a duo. They're like the first Jay and Silent Bob. So here, Stallone pulls up and everybody's cheering for Frankenstein, and he's pissed because he's not Frankenstein. So he just pulls out a machine gun and opens fire on the stands. Yeah, this is a lot of absurd violence. Oh, and here comes the monster, the sole survivor of the 95 pileup, the only 2-time winner of the Transcontinental Road Race, Frankenstein. And Carradine's got like this crazy looking, like, I don't know, alligator kind of car with these big teeth on the front. And like, he's got, everybody has to have a driver and a navigator. And that's part of the story of this. Like the drivers are all like these professional wrestling characters and they have like a second with them. So Frankenstein's bringing this woman he's never met before. It's a brand new navigator. That's part of the plot. Like each of them trying to figure each other out because they're, they've just met. And Stallone spits on Frankenstein's car. And there's the third main guy in this race. What's his name? Martin Kove is the actor. It's Nero the Hero. There you go. Nero the Hero, Martin Kove, if you're not familiar with him, he's been in a million and one things too. Holy cow, look at that matte painting. That was absolutely terrible. Much like the graphics to start the movie, in the back was like, looks like it was drawn by a kid in a junior high art class. It was insane. There was a little tram that went by and it was like didn't match anything. Let's see what the budget of this, shall we? Budget was between 300,000 and 500,000, and it made 5 to 8 million at the box office. But I also saw it was like 4.8 million in rentals in the United States. So, you know, like I say, it was out in 75, so it was probably an early attempt, like one of the first VHS ones around. So it probably got rented a million times. It had a cool cover. So here's the president of the provinces of America, because I believe Canada and the United States are now one country. Yep, there's that crazy, terrible matte painting. That was kind of awesome, though. That was classic Roger Corman. So yeah, less than $500,000 to make this. And one of the cool things about this is they cover it like a like a big event. There's like talk shows talking about it, and they cut to different news reports and people explaining the race. Every time you run somebody over, you get points. I think it's more points for like, older people or folks in wheelchairs or whatever. Like it basically is the first movie to put that on screen where, running folks down is how you earn points. There's Mary Warnoff. Who does she play? Calamity Jane. That's right. I should have known. Let's see here. Eating Raoul sounds like a mommy and daddy movie. A little bit. It's more of a cannibalist movie. So, but it's fun. Folks are saying hello to Russell. So when are we going to get Lamonia reviewing Night of the Chicken Dead? I kind of would like to see that. RUSSEL. That a boy Hobbs. Whenever I watch it, I guess. But that's a great answer, Lamonia. Network was another movie that predicted a ton of crap. Look at Professor. That's what I like about the man. He loves his boobs, but he also knows classic cinema. Yeah, Network, exactly. The folks in the late 70s really had an idea of like where things were going and really wanted to poke fun at it. And then by the 80s, a lot of like film companies and production companies became so corporate. I mean, they were always big corporate deals, but in the 70s, they were really letting the filmmakers make films. But by the 80s, they were like, man, we can't have you ragging on corporatism. That's what we're all about. So like for-profit news and a lot of that stuff, just you say a network where they just have to keep raising the stakes, and they're like trying to get a dude to commit suicide on air. So yeah, this is basically like a Cannonball Run type movie. It's a road race across the country. That's what I didn't like about the new Death Race remake with Statham and them. It's like a prison gladiator game or whatever. Like they race around inside a closed-in area, I think. At least that's what I recall. I only watched it once and I never saw any of the sequels. I was like, yeah, I kind of get what they're doing here. As per usual, let me know if you guys have seen this before in the chat or the comments, or if you're a fan of it, if you're a fan of Roger Corman. You should ask Mayanne about it since it's her favorite movie. Something tells me that is actually not her favorite movie. See, Lamonia's quick to this. She understands. She's not going to get tricked by your ways. The announcer with glasses is also in Grand Theft Auto and Rock and Roll High School. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, sounds like he's going to be Corman be using the same people. Straight ballin'. I like it. Thank you. I'll work on it. Wait, Corman died? When? Yeah, that was today. That was the big news. So it's a bummer that I don't ever advertise my shows, but it's a benefit because I can just change on the fly. So tonight was going to be Desperado, actually. And instead, I decided to do this out of Corman passing away. He was 98, so he lived a full life. It's one of those things where it's not like, oh, what happened? It's like, well, but I think he's like firmly proof that like if you lead a good life, like if you're, you treat your body okay, you're not too rough on yourself, and you do what you love, and you have a reason to get up every day and feel like you're accomplishing something and you're happy, just kind of live longer. So, I mean, barring medical outside stuff or whatever. But as far as dying of old age, yeah, he managed to stay in there for a long time. But he's all over my childhood, like a lot of these B movies that were on in the middle of the night and stuff that I would watch, from the video store. Like after I'd seen all the big Hollywood releases, you move on to the weird stuff, and this falls into the weird stuff. So here the co-pilot or the navigator pulls off Frankenstein's mask, and you see he's not disfigured. He's David Carradine underneath or whatever. He's like, "What'd you think I was going to just another pretty face?" So here's Stallone, Machine Gun Joe, and him and his navigator are arguing about how much people love him. So that's where the quote from underneath my name is "Loved by thousands, hated by millions." That's how they introduce Joe. Let's see, where was I? Oh, the chat. Yes, Roger Corman passed away. Let's see. Roger Corman let Ron Howard direct his own film, Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Grand Theft Auto was one of his one of the many movies where he helped launch people new to the screen or whatever. So where's the list of people that Wikipedia had gathered together here? He launched the careers of Peter Fonda, Jack Nicholson, Dennis Hopper, Diane Ladd, and William Shatner. He also did distribution of a bunch of foreign films. So he helped get Fellini, Ingmar Bergman, Francois Truffaut, and Akira Kurosawa all American distribution. He also mentored and gave start to many young filmmakers such as Francis Ford Coppola, Ron Howard, Martin Scorsese, Jonathan Demme, Peter Bogdanovich, Joe Dante, John Sayles, and James Cameron. He also acted in stuff, like I love when he turns up in Silence of the Lambs. Corman was in the films Godfather Part 2, Silence of the Lambs, Philadelphia, and Apollo 13. So as you can see, like he like is in Oscar-nominated films when he does decide to act. But Corman, in addition to like the professors here, and we're talking about it, another brilliant Corman move is he knew that audiences, and particularly in the 70s, who were looking for schlocky stuff, like he would like boobs in their movie. So he would find two women who were willing to be topless, and you'd have one scene in the first like 10 minutes or so where one of them is topless, and then later on, about the 20-minute mark, one of them should be like undressing. You only have to see like one boob. And then later on in the movie, about the 1 hour mark, you need another topless lady. And if you just have two women who are willing to be topless at 3 points in the movie, so people suddenly think your entire movie is filled with sex, and you have like a sexy comedy with lots of nudity. And it's like, no, not really. You just got to space it out right. So it keeps, every time the audience falls asleep, you give them a jolt. Here they're breaking down the rules. Handicapped people or older folks are 100 points. So here's a guy with a matador, and now the car's chasing him through a field. Mary Woronov is chasing him through the field with a car, and she's got like bull horns on the front of hers. Toto. Let's see here. I've been kind of unplugged on social media. I've been celebrating Mom since Friday. It's Mexican Mother's Day in Mexico on the 10th. Oh, very nice. Yeah, it's ours tomorrow. I have to go and see my mama. We're gonna her boyfriend or fiance is playing a guitar gig, so I'm gonna go have some lunch with her, give her some flowers, wish her happy Mother's Day, help roadie for the future stepdad, and then get back in my happy ass towards where I am. So yeah, it is now currently Mother's Day. So as Vanilla Ice said, word to your mothers. Yeah, I keep forgetting that, Professor. Professor, thanks for that. I learned something new. Yeah, I always know that. Mr. Bones says Boglins, as he's wont to do. Hobbs says, I reviewed a lot of Corman films, some better than others. I think anyone learning horror sci-fi should start with some Corman. Oh, for sure. Just because of even this, where I'm making fun of the bad matte paintings. This is the type of stuff an early filmmaker can learn how to do. So if you watch this and learn how to put stuff together, and particularly like just the pacing of the movie and the length and stuff, like I say, an hour and 20, it's just long enough to count as a movie. Feel like it's not too short, but it's just short enough where it's like, oh, saw what I had to see and I got out nice and quick. So there, the hospital rolled out a bunch of terminally ill patients into the road for Frankenstein to run down with the car. And because of that, Frankenstein was mad at the nurses and he veered off and killed all of them instead. 110 points. Nice. Yeah, I agree. Hobbs. Corman is king. So yeah, that's why we're here tonight. More Boglins, and Boglins. Teleseries Kung Fu I loved. Yeah, I always loved Kung Fu when I was a kid. The whole thing, snatch the pebble from my hand and walk on the rice paper without tearing it and all that was great. Nude Boglins. Wow, look, this devolved quickly. The young kids need to learn more about the classics. Right on. Earlier, Patrick, Have Cheetah Will View, mentioned that they made a sequel to this, Death Race 2050. And it's on Netflix. I think it might have been a straight to Netflix movie. I don't know. But it's nothing compared to this. But there was also a Corman classic. Like I say, when I think of Corman, the two that jump to my mind are this and Carnosaur, because this he released to ride on the coattails of advertising of Rollerball, this James Caan movie about like how sports are getting violent for the sake of ratings and all that. And Carnosaur rides on the coattails of Jurassic Park. Like Corman had bought the rights to it forever, and then when they did all this advertising and people started to go dinosaur crazy, Corman was right there with Carnosaur. Like, hey, how you doing? I'll right on. You young people think that if you're over 60, you're fit for the knacker's yard. I'm over 60 and I still keep going. Not for so long, but I still keep going. Well, if you live the Corman lifestyle, you got another 38 years, brother. That's what I mean about Roger. It's I think he just was a dude who loved what he did and he felt gratification from doing it. So he just every day he got up happy and he was always happy to talk about films and he loved what he did. Here, Nero the hero is going to run over a baby because obviously that's great points. So he sees some people having a picnic and he tries to run over their baby and instead there's dynamite in there and it was a setup and they blow up his car. So yeah, as you can see, part of the comedy of this is not only these people trying to run folks down for points, but there's also like saboteurs and people from other countries. I think at one point, like the French force attacks a Machine Gun Joe. And here we see they're interviewing this woman. They're interviewing the woman who was the wife of Machine Gun Joe's first score. And they have her in her home or in her robe, like she's been crying and everything. But from the wide shot, we see it's actually just a sound stage. It's all fake. And then behind, right where the lady's giving the interview, there's people getting makeup done and stuff. It's absurd. Oh, let's see here. Eat My Dust is a classic Ron Howard film. Tell him, Russ. Yeah, damn straight. Oh, I'm quite proud I'm the resident boob guy in the community. I have that engraved on my tombstone. He loved boobs, right? I think it's an endearing trait. It's like, don't we all? Timestamp. I'm watching this on Tubi, and I'm currently at the 22:12 mark. So I noticed a couple versions of this were on YouTube too. Apparently, like a lot of Hindi versions were out bouncing around. So I think it's also on Freevee, perhaps. Pussy Man ourself. Nice. Laugh my ass off, Russ. I'm effing dead, right? Death Race 2000 remake? Yeah, it was I mean, do you think they should make one? Or are you talking about the Jason Statham Death Race movie or whatever with Joan Allen and all them? Death Race Spooktacular. They killed the nurses. Okay, so Russell is caught up with us. Love Rollerball. Huge James Caan fan. You always do shout out James Caan. You got good Caan bona fides. See, there's this subplot going on in this movie where the Navigator is part of like the resistance that's rebelling against the government, and how, all their corporate evilness or whatever. And then Frankenstein and her kind of become, they they have a love affair and everything, but then it's kind of in between whether or not she's like really with him because she loves him or she's doing it just because of her rebellion stuff or whatever. Frankenstein's like a real Han Solo character. He doesn't care about anything but himself. He's not worried about any political party in either way. As I was saying, Roger Corman, he started off, he worked in the mailroom at Fox, and then he became a story reader, and he picked out The Gunfighter with Gregory Peck. Like, he read that story and thought it would make a good movie and passed it on to the higher ups. And he got no like recognition at all, no like money, no like thanks for doing this, nothing. So he got pissed and left. So he'd already been to Stanford for his education, but then after that he went to used the GI Bill to go to Oxford to study English literature, and then he lived in Paris for a while. He returned back to LA and worked at KLAC as a stagehand and a messenger, and basically also worked as an assistant to a literary agent. So you can see he's had all the jobs. It wasn't like he was some rich dude who just started investing money and it kept snowballing and snowballing. He's like a dude who just pulled him up out of nowhere. So then he sold a script and then started using his personal contacts to round up money to produce his first feature, Monster from the Ocean Floor. Right. So then after that, he did a car racing movie called The Fast and the Furious. And you've heard of that before. He made his in 1955, and he ended up selling the rights to the name, or at least leasing the rights to the name, to the current Fast and the Furious people. So every time they use that name, they got to pay Roger Corman. So one of the many reasons to love the guy. He's like just got his finger on the pulse so much. He knows a cool ass name. So Stallone is he's taking out two more people. Ooh, and then he ran over dude's head. Paul Bartel, not Paul Blart, Paul Bartel said that in his version of this, there was a whole bunch of comedy. And Roger Corman took it out because he wanted it to be more sci-fi and wacky and like brutal. And he added a bunch of violent scenes that Paul Bartel didn't approve of. So Bartel actually dislikes this film. Well, he disliked it. He passed away in 2000, I think. So Corman, we hit a commercial here on Tubi. It looks like a long one. It's going little scrolly circles going slow. After Fast and the Furious, he did a bunch of Edgar Allan Poe stuff, and that's what a lot of people are familiar with him from. There's all these cheap DVDs. If you're a collector, you've probably seen them before, like the Roger Corman collection of Edgar Allan Poe, like Jack Nicholson's and a bunch of them. And Lon Chaney, Boris Karloff, perhaps, I forget what was it, but Vincent Price worked with Corman. A bunch of these classic film names. As I mentioned, he gave a bunch of early starts to directors who went on to be famous later. People like Cameron and stuff. Let's see. I wanted to see how many productions he had. Corman, last time I checked, he was like something up like 500 movies produced. Roger Corman, yeah, he passed. Wow, they've already updated it. Nice. Oh, not nice, but you know what I mean. Awards, 30 wins. Producer, 491 movies produced, including 2 more coming out. So let's go through some 56 films. So see what I mean? He directed 56, produced 400, almost 500. Roger be working. Oh yeah, I just saw the. Well, let's start at the beginning. Holy crap! My scrolling fingers already hurt. Monster from the Ocean Floor, Fast and the Furious, Beast with a Million Eyes, but only one back. Apache Woman, Day the World Ended, The Oklahoma Woman, It Conquered the World, Naked Paradise, Attack of the Crab Monsters, Not of This Earth, The Undead, Rock All Night, Carnival Rock, Teenage Doll, Sorority Girl, The Saga of the Viking Women and Their Voyage to the Waters of the Great Seas. War of the Satellites, Machine Gun Kelly, The Brain Eaters, Cry Baby, Hot Car Girl, Night of the Blood Beast, I Mobster. That's Mobster, not Monster. High School Big Shot, T-Bird Gang, Beast from the Haunted Cave. I know her. The Wasp Woman. The Wasp Woman, if you've ever, like I say, collectors out there familiar with Roger Corman multi-discs, if you've ever bought one of those like 10 horror movies for $5 or, the big box of like 40 movies for 10 or whatever, Wasp Woman is always in there. Wasp Woman and Bela Lugosi and maybe Battle Beyond the Sun, A Bucket of Blood, and that's a classic, a Dick Miller comedy, and they've it turns up all over the place. That's also one that's always on those full horror sets. Attack of the Giant Leeches, Ski Troop Attack, Battle of Blood Island, House of Usher, Last Woman on Earth, Little Shop of Horrors, the original, not the remake, but I'm sure he got paid for the remake. Atlas, Creature from the Haunted Sea, The Pit and the Pendulum, Premature Burial, The Intruder, Tales of Terror, The Raven, Young Racers, X-Man, X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, Dementia 13, there's another one that's always on those, The Haunted Palace, The Mask of Red Death, Bloodbath, Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, The Tomb of Ligeia, Queen of Blood, The Navy versus the Night Monsters. That's why was I not informed I was fighting with the Navy? What the hell? The Shooting, The Wild Angels. The Wild Angels is also another one that's like in box sets. Ride the Whirlwind, Devil's Angel, St. Vincent Massacre, The Trip, The Wild Racers, Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women. Jesus. Target Harry, Naked Angels, Bloody Mama, Angels Die Hard, Student Nurses, Scream of the Demon Lover, Beast of the Yellow Night, The Big Dollhouse, there's a Pam Grier, The Velvet Vampire, that's a good name. Hello, I'm the Velvet Vampire. Angels Hard as They Come, I don't even want to know. Women in Cages, Lady Frankenstein, Night of the Cobra Woman, The Twilight People, The Hot Box, The Final Come Down, The Big Bust Out, Night Call Nurses, Boxcar Bertha, Big Bird Cage, The Woman Hunt, Unholy Rollers, The Dirt Game, Savage, Student Teachers, Young Nurses, Devil's Island, Naughty Wives, Tender Love Care, Submersion of Japan, Caged Heat, Dirty Duck, Cockfighter, Big Bad Mama, Candy Stripe Nurses, Street Girls, and we just got to Death Race 2000. Oh boy. Summer School Teachers, Crazy Mama, Cover Girl Mode, Nashville Girl, Eat My Dust, Hollywood Boulevard, The Great Texas Dynamite Chase, Bad, Black Oak Conspiracy, Moonshine County Express, Grand Theft Auto, Ilsa, the Tigress of Siberia, A Hero Ain't Nothing But a Sandwich, Jokes My Folks Never Told Me, Death Sport, The Evil, Blackout, Piranha, Avalanche, The Bees, Star Crash, Island of the Fishmen, Rock and Roll High School, Fast Charlie the Moonbeam Rider, Up from the Depths, The Lady in Red, Humanoids from the Deep. A lot of people coming from places. Roger Corman was very fascinated by folks showing up. Battle Beyond the Stars. Actually, that's a classic one with Sybil Danning and John Boy. That's the one where the giant spaceship has big boobs on the front, but it also looks kind of like a uterus. I don't know. It's The Private Eyes, Shogun Assassin, The Territory, Galaxy of Terror, Saturday the 14th, Slumber Party Massacre, Forbidden World, Murder by Phone, Jimmy the Kid, Time Walker, Fire and Ice, Screwballs, Mountaintop Motel Massacre, attention Mr. Bones, Suburbia, Space Raiders, Deathstalker, White Star, Emmanuel 4, Oddballs, The Warrior and the Sorceress, Wizards of the Lost Kingdom, Jesus, Cocaine Wars, Chopping Mall, Hunter's Blood, Sorority House Massacre, Summer Camp Massacre, Hour of the Assassin, Munchies, Strip to Kill, Deathstalker 2, Duel of the Titans, Slumber Party Massacre 2, Big Bad Mama 2, The Nest, The Drifter, The Lawless Land, Beach Balls, Emmanuel 6, Saturday the 14th Strikes Back, Twice Dead, Watchers, Crime Zone. I'm skipping over a bunch of them too. The Terror Within, Nowhere to Run, Time Trackers, Lords of the Deep, Food of the Gods, Blood Fist, Transylvania Twist, Ministry of Vengeance, Primary Target, Haunting of Morella, Ultra Warrior, Barbarian Queen 2, The Empress Strikes Back, Flesh Gordon Meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders, Watchers 2, Hollywood Boulevard 2, Slumber Party Massacre 3, Blood Fist 2, Frankenstein Unbound, The Terror Within 2, Dead Space, Kiss Me a Killer, Future Kick, Cursed of the Crystal Eye, Blood Fist 3, Forced to Fight, Body Chemistry 2, The Voice of a Stranger, Dance with Death, Ultraviolet, Black Belt, Body Waves, Crake, Firehawk, Step Monster, Killzone, Dracula Rising, Carnosaur, The Skateboard Kid, Dragonfire, Carol Dinosaur Island, Unborn 2, Demon Keeper, Fantastic Four, that's a classic one. When Roger Corman acquired a bunch of rights to different superhero characters, and he had the Fantastic Four under his thumb for a while, and there's a rule where, like, when you buy a property, you have to make a movie about it or do something with it within a certain amount of time, or else it reverts back to the original owners. So Roger Corman, in classic Roger Corman mode, figured out it would cost, whatever, $1 million to re-up on the Fantastic Four. And instead he, attention bones, there's some boobs on screen. Frankenstein and his co-pilot are getting it on. So the rights to the Fantastic Four would revert back to Marvel. So he figured out it would cost like $1 million to pay them, but he made a movie for like $500,000 and saved the money. And then he never released the movie. So it's you can find it at like Comic-Cons, or like sometimes it's floating around like on, I think I found it on YouTube, but it's one of the original Fantastic Four movies from 1994. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Angel of Destruction. No Dessert Dad Till You Mow the Lawn. Munchie Strikes Back. The Liars Club. Watchers 3. Blood Fist 6. The Crazy Sitter. Carnosaur 2. Attack of the 60-Foot Centerfolds. Strip Teaser. I wonder what they were capitalizing on the money there. It's like, well, there's a movie called Striptease coming out. It's like, well, there's a movie called Strip Teaser in the video stores right now. Sawbones, Virtual Abduction, Burial of the Rats, Black Scorpion, Wasp Woman, Not of This Earth, The Bucket of Blood remake, Body Chemistry 4, Full Exposure, Piranha TV movie, Terminal Virus, Caged Heat 3000, Black Rose of Harlem, When the Bullet Hits the Bone, Alien Avengers, Shadow of a Scream, Death Game, Vampirella, Marquis de Sade, Captain Nuke and the Bomber Boys, Carnosaur 3, Primal Species, Detonator, Biotech Warrior, Falling Fire, Rumble in the Streets, Avengers 2, I'm assuming everybody's left and won't ever come back, Space Jam, Space Jacked, sorry. I wonder if you can guess what that's trying to capitalize on. My Brother's War, Star Portal, Termination Man. I wonder if you can capitalize what that's on. The Protector, The Very Unlucky Leprechaun, yikes. Black Thunder, Overdrive, Stray Bullet, Running Woman, Desert Thunder, The Phantom Eye, The White Pony, Game of Death, not that one, Moving Target, Nightfall, Aladdin and the Adventure of All Time, Avalanche Alley, The Arena, Hard as Nails, Wolfhound, Sting of the Black Scorpion, Slaughterhouse Studios, Rage and Discipline, Blood Fist 2050, The Hunt for Eagle 1, we're in the 2000s, guys. Hang in there. Super Gator, Cry of the Winged Serpent, the Death Race remake in 2008. Cyclops, Dino Shark, Sharktopus, Dino Croc versus Super Gator, Death Race 2, Camel Spiders, Piranaconda, Stealing Las Vegas, Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader, Place of the Damned, Water Wars. Oh boy, Sharktopus versus Terracuda. That's a lot. Fist of the Dragon, Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf, Death Race 4, Death Race 2050, Cobra Gator, Abduction, and the Jungle Demon. I knew we'd get through it, guys. We did it. We did it. I'm not sure what we did, but it's done. All right. So where was I? So now Frankenstein and his lady are done getting it on. God love them. And they're back to racing. Where am I with this poor neglected chat after having to listen to all that? Oh boy. They kill the nurses. Love Rollerball. Watching on YouTube. Zach McGowan did the last 2 Death Race films. Yeah, he was just producing those. The Corman producing stuff. That's all I read. Professor's a member of the BWO Boob World Order. The labes. Pussy life matters. There you go. I'm not going to put down the vagina. Remember the Great Race with Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis is a classic. I will remember. Co-ed massage. Machine Gun Kelly is whack. Wow, things got out of control here. Wrong MJ Key. Oh, okay, gotcha. I love Machine Gun. You right. Big boobs. Battle of Blood Island is very weird. And there's some boobs. There you go. I got boobs on the stream. You already got a good name, Don. You're Count to Fuck. And I'm Don Zombie. I've got many aliases. Love the old biker films growing up. Mr. Bones says 2 hours later, right? I knew we would get through them, and you don't know how many I skipped over, ones that were just sort of redundant. Let's see. I like Galaxy of Terror. I do too, actually. Blood Mama with Shelley Winters and Robert De Niro. Oh, Bloody Mama. Yeah. Hey, Danette is here. She walked in the middle of that big, long reading of Roger Corman's productions. Welcome, Danette. And maybe, I never can tell if Jack's here. I'm going to sleep, but I want to come by and say hello and give you a thumbs up, Don. Well, thank you, Nanette. What a sweetheart you are for that. I appreciate it. If it's a great time to follow Nanette's lead, and be sure to hit the like and subscribe and share to everyone you know. I'm sure they want to know all the Roger Corman films. Blood Boobs Island 7. So now, once in the race, a lot of this is just in the car of Frankenstein and the Navigator talking back and forth. And, she's trying to get him to join the resistance, yada, yada. But then they break it up with the classic comedy of somebody getting run over by a car. So here's, where they have the fake Frankenstein. They have another guy that they're going to, I think they're going to try to kidnap him. Later on, what is it? I want to say in Toxic Avenger, is it? One of them, Lloyd Kaufman movies, they do the same thing where, like, when they run people over, they put the little, like, logo of who they've ran over, person in a wheelchair, somebody with a walker. Yeah, I don't know. This when it first came out, this got bad reviews, obviously, and then much like a lot of these movies, as time goes on, people sort of realize their brilliance. So, like Roger Ebert gave this 0 stars. And then later on, when Running Man came out, he mentioned this as one of the movies that was an influence for Running Man and called it like classic cinema. But then he refused to go back and change his grade. So Roger Ebert still lists this as a 0 of 4 stars. Seen Flesh Gordon at the drive-in. Yeah, I remember the first one. Bravo, Don. You made it till the end of that. Thank you, Professor. Yeah, I thought I was eventually going to run out of speed there, but I ended up making the push at the end. Let's see here. Folks are saying hello to Danette, and they're saying hi to Jack. Everyone loves Jack. See, hi, Jack boy. Oh, Jack is here. He's laying on my knee. Jack's a good boy. Jack says hello to you, Don and Russell. See, thank you, Jack. Well, nice to have you here. Love this. Saw it when I was at 19. Yeah, this one, like I said, it was first from the video store wall because the cover was so cool. It's got like this guy with the black mask on driving the car, and you see all these explosions and stuff. But then it was always on in the middle of the night. I was talking when we were watching They Live, how Roddy Piper's Hell Comes to Frogtown is like just always on in the middle of the night. It's a classic because the title grabs you. Like, what is this all about? So Death Race 2000, obviously, that's a grabber title. Corman's real good at these grabber titles. So this was forever on USA Up All Night or Joe Bob's Monster Vision, or primarily it's on like TBS in the middle of the night. It's one of those falls, wake up in the morning and there's Death Race staring me in the face. But this has also been on all the cable. As you can see now by it being on Tubi and Freevee, it's one of those where it's a cheap product to stick on your channel. It's good schlocky fun. And I see I got a commercial coming in 8765. What's the timestamp before the commercial comes? 4130. So I've only had 3 commercials, one to start, one at the 20, and one at the 40. That's pretty good. 20 minutes is a nice run in between commercials. I liked watching Siskel and Ebert. Damn, they were sometimes snobby mofos when it came to movies, right? As a person up in the middle of the night watching stuff, Siskel and Ebert was always late night fare. Like I think it was maybe on one channel in the afternoon, but all the rest of them it was on like 10:30 p.m., like after the news, or maybe 11, like after the news and stuff. So I would watch Siskel and Ebert every Sunday night. Later on, what was it called? Jeffrey Lyons and somebody else were on there. Michael Medved, maybe. I don't know. They went through a bunch of late night hosts. They were like competitors to. Well, after Ebert left, it was Richard. Can't even Roper, right? Richard Roper. And it was Siskel and Roper for a while. But there were other like knockoff shows of Siskel and Ebert that were on too, and they would just show trailers and tell you what was good about it, what was bad about it. But they always wanted to be real snobby and like. Hoity-toity film people. It's like there's no art in this movie. It's like, well, it's Carnosaur 6. What do you expect? Hell Comes to Frogtown, the sequel, are fun. Yeah, I love me some Hell Comes to Frogtown. Hey there, everyone. Please hit the like button. Thank you, Caveman. My friend Guy is here. Nice to see you, buddy. Hello, Caveman. Oh, folks are welcoming Caveman. Who remembers Rex Harrison? How can we not? I think most people know Rex Harrison from Weird Science, where the grandparents come in during the party, and then Kelly LeBrock says, "You can't just come in here hitting folks with your Rex Harrison hat." And we end on commercial. Finally, we're back. And it's 41:31. Like I said, this one's only an hour and 20 minutes. So we're getting to the let's see, hour and 20, so that'll be the 60-minute or 80-minute mark, so 40. So we're at the midway point right now, right? So there you go. Frankenstein and his navigator have switched roles. She's going to drive for a little bit, and he's going to be the navigator. I think he's going to get some rest, maybe. So he's like, I'm counting on you to, make some big scores. But really, I think she's going to go like drive him off so he can get kidnapped and swapped out with the Frankenstein, the Fakenstein. How about that? So yeah, that's the midway point of the movie. So there's your story structure. If it's 80 minutes long, at the 40-minute mark, we're going to hit some sort of plot twist. That's about right. Professor, they did like Devil's Rejects. I was shocked. Ooh, I didn't know they were still doing reviews at that point. I know Ebert really had health issues for the back end of his life. Dr. Doolittle with Rex Harrison's a good one. Yeah, My Fair Lady, right? Yeah, I believe that is My Fair Lady. Rex Harrison was a rival. Oh, that Rex Harrison. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, no. Was that his name, Rex Harrison, or was it Rex Reed? What was his name? I remember that was that guy. He was a kind of a flamboyant gay dude. He was like a competitor. There were a whole bunch of like new critics. Nowadays, there's no such thing as a famous critic, but like Gene Shalit was a famous critic. He's like this crazy guy with an afro and a mustache. Like I say, Jeffrey Lyons, Michael Medved. Trying to remember, there's a bunch of other ones. But then at one point on Siskel and Ebert, when Ebert was gone, they would frequently have like directors come on. So like I saw Martin Scorsese talk to Siskel. I think Kevin Smith was on. It was like people's opportunity to play the Siskel and Ebert role. They were a big deal. They don't have anything like that now, which is weird. I'm surprised there aren't. I mean, I guess they were replaced by people like me. Hey, what's going on with that movie? I don't know. Wait 20 years and I'll talk about it. Hey, I see Pugwall's here. There he is. Morning, Hall. Welcome. Rex Reed was the Marvel movie critic. Siskel and Ebert had some good movie reviews, but if you want to hear anything good about a horror movie, they're definitely not the ones to listen because they always badmouth horrors. Yeah, they were very much on the train that horror movies like specifically made women. They had very like left-leaning political opinions regarding the movies, so a lot of times they would come down on horror movies specifically as like very misogynistic and things. But it was weird. I found them both to be relatively similar opinions, and the idea of the show was that if they both gave it a thumbs up, you knew it was good because they were so different. And I was like, I didn't really find them to be that different. It wasn't like one was like a hardcore like schlock horror guy, and the other guy was like this snooty hoity-toity art guy. It's like they're both sort of snooty hoity-toity art guys. Caveman, I forgot about that guy. Hello, Pugwall. Yeah, my friend Matt is here. Yeah, I'm frustrated. Matt and I were supposed to get together with Larry tomorrow and do a commentary track, or actually just discuss some various movies of Richard Munchkin. And so him and Larry will be doing that tomorrow. Please go by Matt's channel and check that out. And fill what I would fill in conversation in the chat, please. I have to, as I said, I got to go see Mama tomorrow. That's the great thing. If I have to bail out on Matt, he'll understand. If I have to bail out on Mom, I won't hear about it until past the new year. So yeah, be sure to go there tomorrow and check out the support on Matt Pugwall 316's channel. I think you dig what he's talking about. There's a lot of cool old school. If you're a fan of Roger Corman, you'll be a fan of the stuff he's talking about tomorrow. Rex Reed was a powerful critic until Siskel and Ebert broke out. Yeah, I think he was like maybe like he wrote for a paper in New York. Is that something like that? Rex Reed, I liked him. All folks are saying hi to Pugwall. The shittiest thing Siskel and Ebert did was release the home address of people involved in a movie they ragged on. I don't know if they ever apologized for that. Wow. Yeah, I think I do remember that whole thing. What movie was that? Do you remember, Professor? I kind of remember that whole thing. They like wanted to encourage you to write them and tell them not to do that or whatever. Instead, they gave out people's address and was like, do you know what you're doing, you idiots? So there's been an accident explosion. Matilda has been blown totally. Correction, Matilda has made an impressive score. Stand by. So yeah, this is kind of like in Running Man, where it's like everything's manipulated. Even if somebody did die, they just change the story around and re-edit it and use camera tricks and stuff. So what we see isn't reality, which is quite a statement about reality television when reality television didn't even exist yet. Oh, this country boy's about to get run over. This is the test. Like I said, he kind of knows she's maybe not loyal to him and not really down for the cause, or she's down for the rebel cause, not for this cause. So she's supposed to run down this kid in a street like playing with a tire, and she chickens out. She can't do it. And he kind of knows like, you're not down to help me win this game, lady. You got an alternative agenda. Let's see here. Siskel and Ebert loved the Devil's Rejects. Yeah, like I said, I forgot that they were even doing reviews by them. So here, Frankenstein wants him to pull over so he can swap back out with her because he don't trust her now. Yeah, this movie's kind of we've had what, one set of boobs and we've had 3 crushed heads. So that's kind of the ratio this movie goes by. The rest of it's just slocky and absurd. A lot of people know it mainly as Stallone's early work. Let me see. This was his... Stallone has even acting credits. Nice. Who knows what that is? Brit or Booty Call? No. Oh boy, I guess scrolling through the 97. Let's see where this is. I think it's his 3rd film. That's what I'm guessing. Party at Kitty at Studs was his first. Well, The Square Root was his first. The Party at Kitty at Studs is as I understand it, a porno. I've never seen it, but that's supposedly the deal, that he did a porno early on in his career. And then he was uncredited in The Sidelong Glances of a Pigeon Kicker, which is maybe the best title I've ever heard, and I just read through 400 Roger Corman ones. He was in Bananas, Rebel. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Lords of Flatbush, Prisoner of Second Avenue, Capone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that was his 9th movie. Wow, that's amazing. People always think his career starts with Rocky. Well, they know about Party at Kitty and Studs as kind of a goof, but Police Story, Kojak. I didn't realize he did an episode of Kojak. Cannonball, Rocky. So Stallone started in '69. Nice. And then did Rocky in '76. So that's cool. And then after Rocky, Fist, Paradise Alley, Rocky 2, Nighthawks, Victory. I don't know if you've ever seen Victory. It's fun. Nighthawks is fun too. All of these early Stallones are good. Rocky 3, First Blood, Rhinestone, Rambo 2, Rocky 4, Cobra, Over the Top, Rambo 3, Lockup, Tango and Cash, Rocky 5, Oscar, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Wow, he was on an episode of Dream On. We just talked about Dream on Into House the other night. We were digging it back up out of our memory. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, The Specialist, Judge Dredd, Assassins, Daylight, Copland, The Good Life, Ants, Get Carter, and ICU, Avenging Angelo, Game Over, Rocky Balboa, The Boxing Bloopers, Rambo, The Expendables, Bullet to the Head, Escape Plan, Grudge Match, Expendables 3, Reach Me, Creed, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Creed 2, Escape Plan, The Extractors, Rambo Last Blood, The Suicide Squad is King Shark's voice. Oh, I forgot he was the voice of that. He's really good in that. Samaritan, Tulsa King, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as Stokar Orgard, and Expendables 4. But he has 9 releases coming up. Anything of note? No. Well, anyways. Damn it, I missed the classic line. He's like, I got 2 words for that. Bullshit. Here, like, they're having one of the layovers. That's part of the story, is like, they race to a place, then they kind of check in for the night and sleep. So that Stallone and his mobster friends, because he's like this like over the top ridiculous like Godfather mafioso stereotype with like the big cigar and the hat and everything. And they're all eating at the dinner table, and Stallone's just losing his shit. He's covered in food all over his face. So is this the fake Frankenstein when I was reading the long list of Stallone credits? No, that's the real one. You can see David Carradine's eye. Oh, let's see here. Where are we with the folks? Mama Owl for the win, right? That's what I'm saying. As soon as I was supposed to see her tonight, and then when I saw that I was going to be busy tomorrow during the stream, I was like, there's not a chance in hell I can call her and be like, look, I already got to talk about Don the Dragon Wilson that day. I'm sorry. So I apologize, Matt. You and I will have to get together for our Reefer Madness watch along. But my extensive knowledge of Don the Dragon Wilson films it will be hidden away. Might have been Friday the 13th. I think maybe that'd have been that one. Oh, that could be. Yeah. Because I know they disliked Friday the 13th a lot. Because if you know the story of Friday the 13th, it was basically just horror movies were very hot at the time and made a bunch of money, and they were so cheap to produce that the return on investment was huge. So the dudes who made Friday the 13th had a great idea that, all these holidays have been starting to get turned into horror movies, especially after the success of Halloween. So they thought Friday the 13th is like a natural like holiday for a horror movie. So they put out an ad for Friday the 13th, even though they had no movie or nothing. And they just wanted to see if somebody would sue. So then when nobody sued, they decided to make a movie off the success of the title. Like they got a bunch of phone calls from people like, we want that movie at our theater. It sounds great. It's like, it's just a name. So yeah, when you know that story and you go into seeing Friday the 13th, you probably feel like it is just a cheap money grab, violence against teenagers thing. But then, whatever, 12 movies later, wah, wah. Um, Lords of Flashbook, Lord of Flashbook, Flatbush, the Flatbush, Lords of Flatbush with Sylvester Stallone, Perry King from the class of 1984, and the Fonz, Henry Winkler. Is anybody more beloved than Henry Winkler? Like, if he ran for president, he'd probably win, right? Maybe. It's close. Henry Winkler is awesome. Love watching Stallone movies. He was still great in that Tulsa King TV series, and his daughters are freaking hot. I'm unfamiliar with his daughters' works. Hey, Jamie Hart is here. Welcome, Jamie. I'm curious if any of you folks, I'm assuming most of you in the chat are pretty familiar with this film, but if anybody hasn't, let me know. We're currently at the 54, 56 mark, so coming up on the 55-minute mark. Stallone and Frankenstein are having a boxing match in the garage where the cars are being worked on. Just, we've been running over people with cars all movie. Let's take a break and have a fist fight. That's a pretty classic fight there. Rocky versus Kane from Kung Fu. Sort of an epic battle. This is up here with your Godzilla versus Kong. But the production value of this is really good for $500,000. Like just the cars alone, I would have thought probably would end up being, $300,000. Pro love that series. I didn't know that Stallone had daughters. Yeah, he married a supermodel in what the 90s or something, and yeah, obviously, Stallone having decent genetics for his muscles and stuff, and his wife being a supermodel. I'm sure they probably grew up pretty. Jamie Hart is here. We love us from Jamie Hart. I think they started doing one of those reality TV shows with Sly and his daughters. Never seen it though. That would make sense. Where are we at now? We're at the 56-minute mark of an 80-minute movie, and we've got boobs again. So, and once again, it's same lady as before, the Corman trick. It's like if you get two women who are willing to show their boobs, and then you kind of space it out, it's going to seem like the whole movie is like wall-to-wall boobs. There's the part where I think it was the earlier scene where Frankenstein says, you just want to sleep with me because of I wear a cool outfit, or drive the monster and wear a cool outfit. So there's some booty. Yeah, they're doing good with the Corman schlock. We've had a bunch of people get run over by cars, and now we got a bunch of sex scenes. Nice. Let's see here. Nighthawks with Rutger Hauer. Yeah, I love me some Nighthawks. I would vote for Henry Winkler. He's great. That's what I mean. He's when you go through and you do like approval ratings of people, it's very hard. I would imagine there's very few people who have a higher approval rating than him. Professor, more boobs. I've seen this movie many times. Of course, Jamie Hart has. She's always got good taste. Yeah, this is one. You gotta kind of have a horror sense of humor where you can laugh at someone getting their head run over by a car. But I imagine there's a lot of folks in the world who are like, how can you laugh at that? It's set up funny, yo. What else we got here? Can't go wrong with boobs. Makes it a fun time funner. Indeed. Oh, and they're going to give me a commercial. They're going to have these two go to. Oh, that was nice. These two were getting it on, and they faded to black so they could come back the next morning. And as they faded to black, Tubi hit me with a commercial. So this looks like a fast one though. The little spinner bars going quick. Let's see here. I was just on my way to bed and saw that you were live, so I thought I'd drop by to say hi, but I got to go get to bed, going to breakfast in the morning for Mother's Day. I don't want to be all sleepy. Well, first of all, happy Mother's Day, or I would assume so, or else if not, you want to see your mother. But thank you for joining us. And like I said earlier, shout out to all the moms out there. Word to your mothers. Night night, Jamie. I hope you feel better. Yeah, Jamie's the awesomest. So always support friend Jamie. Be sure to check out her channel and see what she's talking about. I know she's got a live stream maybe coming up here. Boy, that Jason Momoa, he can put on a show, can he? And we're almost done. Looks like one more commercial. Oh, Gain. Mm-hmm. I'm always fascinated by the commercials they give me because supposedly they're supposed to be kind of targeted. So I always sort of look to see, like, what do you guys think I need? It's like, oh, cell phone coverage, fabric, laundry stuff. Or maybe they heard me talk about running over people with a car. They're like, this guy's probably got some deep stains he needs to wash out. So here's the next morning, the fade back in from black from the love-making scene earlier. Rated R. I wonder what the total kill count is in this. That's an interesting question. Well, there's the list of deaths. What's the points system for Death Race 2000? That's a good one. Carradine kills 13. Stallone kills 7. Is that all? There's got to be more because I saw Calamity Jane run over somebody. Yeah, they just give me those two. So Carradine almost doubles him up. That's whack. Yeah, I'm not seeing any specific number like I did so fast for the ones the other night. Yeah, nothing there. But I did want to see what else David Carradine had done. Oh, Machine Gun Joe is also known as the funny man for Chicago. And that's the one where at the beginning of the race, the next day, Machine Gun Joe hears his mechanics talking crap about him or whatever. And then he backs over them with his car before he takes off and picks up a quick 40 points to start the race. Screw you, Machine Gun Joe, and your mother. That's uncalled for on Mother's Day, Mary Woronov. What's the matter with you? David Carradine, he was, holy crap, 239 acting credits. Yeah, we shan't be going through all of those. Let's see what the biggies were. I know up front it's Kung Fu, right? I didn't realize he did that much. He did a lot of TV and low-budget stuff, though. That's probably why. Wagon Train, The Virginian, Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Cinnamon Strip, Violent Ones, Young Billy Young, Night Gallery, Boxcar Bertha, The Long Goodbye, Mean Streets, Kung Fu. So, wow, he had like 30 credits before he even did Kung Fu. That's amazing. And then Death Race 2000 was his first thing after Kung Fu. So you could tell he probably was using this to get, break out. Then he was in Cannonball, Bound for Glory, Thunder and Lightning, Gray Lady Down, Circle of Iron, Cloud Dancer. Shout out to Cloud Dancer. My uncle was in that. He was dating a woman. I think he lived in Phoenix, but I know he often spent time over in California. So he was dating a woman who was working on Cloud Dancer. It's this movie with David Carradine where he's like a stunt air pilot, like he flies airplanes and stuff. And I think he has something where he's like smuggling coke or whatever, but he's using coke and all this. So like while he's flying, these bloody noses and stuff. And at one point he lands his plane and a couple of thugs pull up in a car and get out and fire a pistol at him. And then he gets in the plane and takes off and they chase him. And my uncle and his friend get in the car and chase him. So I remember this was like, well, Cloud Dancer came out in, Cloud Dancer was in 80. So there you go. And I remember my mom bought it on VHS because, she thought it was cool that he was in a movie. And that was the first time we'd ever like learned that to buy a VHS, it cost like $85 or something. And that was a cheap one because it was Cloud Dancer. So the VHSs made for rental were expensive as hell. But now you can find Cloud Dancer on YouTube. So feel free to watch for the two thugs who pull up and shoot at David Carradine, and say hi to my Uncle Ronnie. Ron, I believe he goes by now. He's grown. Americana, Darkroom, Q the Winged Serpent. I forgot that David Carradine was in Q the Winged Serpent. Lone Wolf McQuaid, I didn't forget that. Airwolf, The Bad Seed, The Fall Guy, the TV show. He was in 3 episodes. Kung Fu the movie, Oceans of Fire, Amazing Stories. Yeah, this is all TV. Warlords, Sonny Boy, Think Big, Matlock, Night Children. Oh yeah, all of these are bad until he gets to Kill Bill. Battle Gear, Karate Cop, Evil Tunes, Waxwork 2, Kung Fu: A Legend Reborn, Killzone, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, The Rage, Fast Track, Nosferatu: The First Vampire, Children of the Corn 5, Kiss of a Stranger, Lovers and Liars, Knocking on the Door, Acapulco Heat, Dangerous Curves, Nightfall, Just Shoot Me, The Warden of Red Rock, Jackie Chan Adventures, The Nightmares Room, The Defectors, Kill Bill Volume 1. Finally, geesh, that's a long ride to have to get to Kill Bill Volume 1. And then Volume 2 was right after Dead and Breakfast, which I still haven't seen, and people keep telling me is good. I need to see the last Dead and Breakfast. Max Havoc, The Curse of the Dragon, Medium, Final Move, Saints Row, video game voiceover, Epic Movie, Homo Erectus, Trident, Fall Down Dead, Permanent Vacation, Fuego, Big Stand, Kung Fu Killer, Break, Death Race. So he voiced Frankenstein in the 2008 remake. Road of No Return, Mental, Darkfields, Bad Cop, Detention, True Legend, Dino Croc, Stretch, El Dorado, Banksters Made Off of America, The American Connection. Wow, David Carradine be working. No reason to get into it, but David Carradine died under less than glorious circumstances. It kind of sucks because he seems like a cool, interesting guy, like the kind of this old hippie, I don't know if you ever see that infomercial where he's got like the piece of like cut bent rope and he's teaching people how to do karate with it. I don't know. He seems like just kind of a weird, like new agey kind of stoner guy. I'm sure he was always whacked out of his mind on drugs. But he's kind of an interesting, almost like Gary Busey light kind of character. But it's good he got to do Kill Bill 1 and 2 before he passed away. Otherwise, he would have had like 30 years of just being schlocky. And there's nothing wrong with schlock, but it's also good to have a few, big things people remember you for. Oh, let's see here. Lone Wolf McQuaid. Yeah, that's right. Okay, thanks for saying. I'm truly going to bed now. Good night, folks. Oh, thank you, Jamie. It was nice of you to hang out with us here, and happy Mother's Day to you. Poor Carradine. What a way to go out. Oof. Oh, hello there. I see our friend Erica's here. Welcome, Erica. Nice to see you. Hello, everyone. Nice to see EA Horror. Yes, a friend of the channel. Awesome woman. Yeah, poor Carradine. What a way to go out. Professor New. What else we got going on here? Yeah, he was in both Kill Bills. Yeah. Last movie was Night of the Templar. Dead and Breakfast is awesome movie. I have it on DVD. See, that's the thing. I do too. I found it in a dump bin at a video store for $1 when video stores were going away, and I was like, well, for $1, I'll watch it. That's like $1 rental, right? And I can throw it away if I want. So I've had it, and it's got like a lenticular cover and stuff. So it was like a fancy edition for $1. I think like Vince Vaughn is maybe in it and some other people. It had some big names in it, but it just looked very cheap on the pictures on the back. So I never got around to it. But people now say Dead and Breakfast is good and I should check it out. So if you have thoughts on Dead and Breakfast, feel free to put them in the comments or the chat below. Erica says, thank you. I forgot he was in Children of the Corn 5. Yeah, I forgot so as well. EA Horror, it's in the gore. I remember Carradine was on an MTV show or VH1, I forget, but he was on an episode of the Celebrity Ghost Hunting Show, and he came on dropping some ghost info for the other celebs. That sounds like MTV and VH1, all right. And especially David Carradine, because like I say, he's kind of like a spiritualist guy. He was always like, whenever you saw him, he'd be wearing like the beads, and he got like the kind of dressed, I don't know, Eastern, but it would be like hemp clothes and stuff. It's kind of funny here to see him in like this S&M gimp outfit the whole movie. But like I was saying, I compare the characters they play, the people who drive the cars. It's almost like professional wrestling. They have to have like these huge personas that you can hook onto. It's like, oh, I like the mobster. Oh no, I like the guy who's back from the dead. You know. So right now they're racing around, obviously, and there's a guy in an airplane dropping bombs on them. The navigator's passed out, so it's just Frankenstein by himself driving this crazy ass alligator monster car around, and there's a plane dropping bombs, and so the car's like trying to swerve and get him to leave him alone, and he does this quick move and slams the plane into the side of a mountain. There it is. Frankenstein has just been attacked by the French Air Force, and he whipped their derrieres. Like the announcers in this are so funny, like the way they're all happy and celebrating people's deaths and stuff. Dead and Breakfast is a great musical number in it. Really, a great music number in it. I was unaware. Yeah, that's one that I don't know. It came out in the thousands. I've been meaning to watch it. I just never got around to it. But I've heard enough good things at this point. So there, Frankenstein makes a joke about how the Swiss doctors that brought him back to life, even though he was fine, that they won't be able to help the French guys in the plane. Yeah, since we're talking about Roger Corman, if anybody in the chat or anybody watching along in the replay, let me know what your favorite Roger Corman film is. Like I said earlier, we went through his ones that he produced. I think now it's time to go through the ones that he directed. There's only 50 of those, so it's nowhere near the 500 production ones he did. Let me see here. Let's close production because it's impossible to read that. All right, director. He directed 56 films. The first was Five Guns West, The Beast with a Million Eyes, Apache Woman, The Day the World Ended, Swamp Women, Gunslinger, The Oklahoma Woman, It Conquered the World, Naked Paradise, Attack of the Crab Monsters, Not of This Earth, The Undead, Rock All Night, Teenage Doll, Carnival Rock, Sorority Girl, The Saga of the Viking Women and Their Voyage to the Waters of the Great Seas, War of the Satellites, Machine Gun Kelly, Not That One, Teenage Caveman, She Gods of Shark Reef. Why am I just now learning about She Gods of Shark Reef? I, Mobster, The Wasp Woman, A Bucket of Blood, Ski Troop Attack, The Last Woman on Earth, Little Shop of Horrors. Oh, I didn't realize he had directed Little Shop of Horrors as well. Huh, look at him. Creature from the Haunted Sea, The Pit and the Pendulum. Oh, I knew he had done some of those Poe ones. I didn't realize he did The Pit and the Pendulum. The Intruder, Tales of Terror, Tower of London, The Raven, The Young Racers, The Terror, X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, The Mask of Red Death with Vincent Price, The Tomb of Ligeia, Wild Angels, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, A Time for Killing, The Trip, The Wild Racers, Target Harry, Desaad, Bloody Mama, Gas or It Became Necessary to Destroy the World in Order to Save It. That's a good title. Von Richthofen and Brown, Death Sport, Battle Beyond the Stars. Oh, he directed Battle Beyond the Stars and its flying blue gloriness. And Frankenstein Unbound in 1990. That was his last film, or last film he directed. So Tubi's got me on a commercial. That's why I was going through Corman's credits. He also wrote 10 films. I bet it's going to be a bunch of those that I just read. The Gunfighter, Highway Dragnet, The Fast and the Furious, Little Shop of Horrors, The Terror, Thunder and Lightning, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Little Shop of Horrors, Frankenstein Unbound, Black Scorpion TV series creator. Interesting. So that's he's a writer, director, producer. He's worked in the mailroom. He worked as a messenger. He's basically done every job there is. He's done distribution, like every aspect of filmmaking. Roger Corman has had his finger on at some point or another. There's a really good podcast with Mick Garris. I can't remember what the hell it's called, but on there, he interviews a lot of the famous, Hollywood royalty people, Joe Dante and all these folks. One of the folks he has on is Roger Corman, and Corman's just a fascinating talk. He talks very slowly and patiently. Everything he says is metered and measured. So you feel like everything he says is important because he talks in such a calm, cool way. I recommend going on YouTube and looking up some interviews of him. He's fascinating. If you get more than 10 minutes of Roger Corman, you're going to learn some stuff. All the stuff with the cars driving here is all done in fast motion. They sped up the film. So especially when you see some of these point of view shots, like from the bumper or like out of the rear view with other cars catching up and stuff, it looks kind of crazy. It's like Mad Max. That's like my only issue with the first original Mad Max film is the sped up, overcranked camera. Sometimes it looks kind of silly. It does like put you on the edge of your seat, but at times it's Oh, let's see here. Nanette says she's seen Little Shop before. So wait a minute. Can I ask you something? I haven't seen any except from this movie, The Unborn. Little Shop of Horrors. Okay, I've seen Little Shop of Horrors. If they did The Raven, that's his favorite, or that's her favorite. Yeah, he acquired a bunch the rights to these Poe movies, so he made a handful of Edgar Allan Poe films that are like relatively popular because nobody had done them since then or whatever. Now Poe's more popular, and there's stuff like The Raven and Beyond the Pale Blue Eye or whatever else it's called. That one's not bad with Christian Bale. It's on Netflix. But I never really dug The Raven with John Cusack. It was all right, but they tried to make Poe into like kind of a Columbo type or something, like a guy solving mysteries. So now Machine Gun Joe and Frankenstein are slamming into each other while they're racing, and Frankenstein has her take his hand off, and it's like a robot hand, and he throws it in the car next to him, and it's got an explosive device in it. Because this movie just has to be absurd. And Stallone is blown up at the 1 hour and 13 minute and 40-second mark. So Stallone lasts all but 6 minutes of the movie. But because he only has one hand, she has to work the gear shift. So out of Carradine's, who had the best career? I would think, John Carradine, he was like a big deal in Hollywood forever, right? Keith, is that the one I know? Or Robert Carradine? Robert Carradine is the one from Revenge of the Nerds, right? And then Keith Carradine. Let me see if I know Keith Carradine. Oh, yeah, that guy. Oh, of course I do. Keith Carradine is pretty good. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Let me look up John. I'm leaning towards Robert, but yeah, John Carradine. Grapes of Wrath, and yeah, I don't know. Probably John Carradine had the best, I would say. Stagecoach, The Howling, 10 Commandments. Yeah, John's probably the best as far as on film, and then I'll go Robert, and then Keith, and then David, and then no shit, that's tough. John, Keith, Robert, David. Which is sad that David's the least popular of them all, but he had the least amount of hits. Like, this is probably one of his biggest hits. Kill Bill, obviously, is what everybody knows him from, but I think he forever will be Kane from Kung Fu, So there's the fake assassination attempt on Frankenstein. And they realize it's not Frankenstein. It's old girl the navigator, and Frankenstein is fine. Nice little twist at the end. And then Frankenstein appears from behind the wheel, or from hiding in the passenger seat of the car, and he pops back out, and he just drives towards the podium where all the president and all them are, and he takes them all out to earn some more points at the end. I'm assuming he did that completely naked because he let old girl wear his outfit. So, yeah, go ahead and put a cape on him or something. So there he is, triumphant with his shirt off, and she's holding dude's hand up as everybody chants, Frankenstein, 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 Frankenstein. I don't know. Let me know which Carradine you think is the best in the oeuvre, or which one had the best career. I think, John probably the most because he did all the classic hit film history stuff. But then Keith, Robert and Keith are a jump ball. That's a 50-50 ball. So here, Frankenstein and the Navigator are getting married. I keep calling her the Navigator. That's super rude. It's Simone Griffith as Annie. And what else has she done? I'm not familiar with her doing anything else. Well, she's pretty. She's got 53 acting credits. Let's see. She Swamp Girl, 16. Starsky and Hutch, Death Race 2000, Monster Squad TV series in 1976. Never heard of it, but it sounds like something I'd like. I see the werewolf and all them on the cover. Interesting. $6 Million Man, The Incredible Hulk, Mandrake, Y50, Three's Company, The White Shadow. If you're not familiar with The White Shadow, that's great. The Dukes of Hazzard, Greatest American Hero, Nero Wolfe. So she's all TV. Chips, Buffalo Bill, The New Mike Hammer, The Golden Girls, Magnum P.I., T.J. Hooker, Bad Girl Island. Hey. 10 Rules for Sleeping Around. Hey. The Dinner Guest, The Choice, Catching Kill and Touched, In Search of Liberty. Hey. So that's her IMDb. So Frankenstein and her are leaving on their honeymoon, and the like obnoxious reporter guy that looks like Austin Powers is going to try to interview them and talk about like he loves them because he's so violent. I think you can guess what's going to happen. Yep, runs him over with the car. That's a good button to end on, and everybody applauds. As to a matter of violence, the technique of violence was first developed in 2 billion BC by the Australopithecines, a tribe of 5'4" or 4-foot primates who had no brains to speak of, but who nevertheless invented the tomahawk and used it on each other. The practice led to the enlargement of the brain, another useful weapon. Yes, murder was invented even before man began to think. So that's the amazing and mind-blowing Death Race 2000. They also recommend, if you enjoyed this, Rollerball 1975, also on Tubi, Death Racers in 2008, Cannonball with Carradine in 76, Death Sport in 78, the aforementioned Hell Comes to Frogtown, The Toxic Avenger. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The Toxic Avenger kind of steals from this a little bit. Cherry 2000, Idiocracy. That they know what's up. America 3000. Ooh. And Free Jack. We just talked about Free Jack the other night as well. So interesting. We talked about that while we were watching Maximum Overdrive. So if you're a fan of Maximum Overdrive, be sure to check out that watch along. All sorts of fun stuff going on there. And I think it's best to wrap her up for the night. I appreciate all of you for coming and hanging out. Let's see what's going on with the chat before we leave. I love Edgar Allan Poe stories. I get confused between David Carradine and Billy Drago. Am I the only one? No, that's actually pretty spot on. I remember David Carradine as Kane, but otherwise I can see that. Keith and David were in Mean Streets. I was unaware. Every single movie that is an Edgar Allan Poe story I've seen, and I do mean every one of them. I found one that I can't find anywhere. The famous Stallone film. Welcome, Gareth, for joining us. Drink anytime we mention video tasties. And Sir Gareth. Swamp Girl, LOL. Swamp Girl, Swamp Girl, Swamp Girl, Swamp. Erica's always fun. Hey, Professor. Sorry, it's Robert Mean Streets. Okay, see, them Carradines are hard to keep track of. Wasn't John Carradine? Was he in? What the hell's the one with Jack Nicholson and the mobster one? I'm drawing a blank. Chinatown. Jesus, Don. Hey, Gareth. Hey, mate. How you doing? Folks are saying hi to Gareth. Okay, I guess David is the most well-known, but I don't know anything that Robert was in. Yeah, Robert was Revenge of the Nerds and John Carpenter's Body Bags and I don't know. Watching Are You Been Served? Nanette, Martha Plimpton, who was in The Goonies, is the daughter of Keith, but goes by her mom's name nowadays. I didn't know that one. That's interesting. I knew Martha Plimpton was in Goonies, and I know Martha Plimpton from stuff. She was big in the 80s. I didn't realize she was the daughter of Keith. I can kind of see it now that you say it. You're the one that clued me into Juliette Lewis being Jeffrey Lewis's son, our daughter. Well, I need to go to sleep now. I'm going to bed now. All right. Thank you for joining us, Nanette and Jack. I appreciate you guys. It's always fun to have you here. And it's always good since we were talking about Poe and you've seen all those Poe movies. Thanks, Big Don. Great stream and classic film. Thank you for joining us, Russ. I appreciate you guys. Night, Russell. Yeah, and I will say good night to all of you. I thank you for joining us and celebrating Roger Corman. He's a hero of mine for a lot of reasons. It's sad to lose him, but he lived a long, full life, and he's the type of guy that if you know his films and you love his films, you can't help but smile when you think about him. So it's a sad day, but it's also a celebration. So celebration, bitches. All right, well. Erica says good night. Everyone's saying good night. That's nice. I thank you so much for joining me. Our friend Professor says another awesome stream down. Take care and good night, my awesome friends. Take care of all of you guys. You guys rule. I appreciate you so much. And as a matter of fact, I appreciate you so much. Ooh, Erica says good night, Relis. I appreciate y'all so much, and I wish you nothing but green grass and high tides forever. All right. Enjoy your Mother's Day.